Hi, I'm Bran, and I love When Calls the Heart.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I like When Calls the Heart.
I'm Dan, season 12, baby. This is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark.
I didn't realize it was
podcast. Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome, one and all.
Did it sit differently watching this episode knowing that we weren't in the home stretch of the last 6 episodes ever and that we had a whole nother batch next year? Did it
Get announced?
It did get announced.
Okay.
Season 12 this weekend got announced. I believe it was on Fridays. Thursday, maybe. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you just not take in the information?
I try
Fran?
not
You
to
just-
take in any information.
Yeah.
Did you really not know
No,
that?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wait, is this a bit?
No,
Or
I
did
didn't
you
know.
not
It got announced. Season 12 is happening.
No. I knew. I thought I texted you guys.
Yeah, I must
Maybe
not have seen it. I think maybe you did, but I was too focused on the scheduling part of it. I think now it's all coming back to me. I do think it was all in that one thing, and I went straight to, I don't know, whatever.
You're a problem solver. You're a
I'm
producer.
I'm a problem solver. That's exactly right. Just like Nathan and Elizabeth are in this week's episode. They're problem solvers.
Yes.
And we're going to get to that
World
and so
changers.
much more. Jax, how are you? Give us the life update. What's going on with you? Like, who are you really?
One of the most exciting things is that I just pre-ordered Hollywood Pride.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it's out. You don't have to pre-order it
It's
now.
out. Wait, May 4th. Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it a couple days ago,
That's right.
and I just got that it is on the way.
So
And you know what made me pre-order it? I saw it when we recorded last time. I saw it in the background. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't pre-ordered it.
it wasn't the interview that I did with Alonzo Duralde where we talked about it for an hour that you definitely listened to.
Oh, you know what it was? It honestly was, and it was so
We
good.
obviously got an advance copy. It's wonderful. High recommend.
It's a beautiful looking book. The layout is just marvelous.
Yeah.
And so a wonderful
I'm
book.
really excited.
Wonderful book to have around.
The sales are important. Check it out. Get it this week, guys. Get it
Sales
this
are
week.
important. Dan,
This
Books
week.
101.
Books 101.
Sales are good.
First week.
Sales are
week
good.
Week 1 sales
Week
are
one
important.
sales are good.
That's right.
Sales are important. And as we're going into Pride Month in June,
Yeah.
get one for yourself, get a gift for a friend.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
If they like Hollywood, if they like Pride, really, it's for
for
everyone.
everyone.
For everybody.
That's right.
Anybody that likes movies and history
That's right.
I've been thinking, speaking of a film in general, I've been thinking about, I'm pretty limited in my, if it came out before like 20, because I really got into movies like around 2012. Like when I finally became an adult, moved out of my parents' house, moved up to Greenville, and
that's right.
Movie Pass came out, and I realized I love going to the movies.
That's right.
I love watching them.
That's right.
I think I might do like a go through like the best movies of all time or something like that.
That's a really good idea, Brain.
It's just
I would do that with you.
like the top 100. What is that? The
AFI, yeah.
No, you don't think you just rolled your eyes at that.
I think the AFI top one, people that do that, like they're missing so much. I think, and that list does change from time to time, but I think that it's not a bad
Who
place
is
to start.
AFI?
The American
Alfred,
Film
Fred
Institute.
and
Alfred, Fred, and Ingrid. Yes, of course.
And they know their stuff. That's
Alfred
the thing.
Hitchcock, Fred
know
Astaire,
their
and
stuff.
Ingrid Bergman.
Yes, they know their
of
stuff.
course, yes.
They know their stuff. Jax, have you seen a lot of like classic movies?
Jax has missed a ton of movies. She's all the time she talks about how she's not seen it.
It's not just the classics though. Like I would say it's equal measure of also just really popular things that aren't even considered classics that I like. Princess Bride. I mean, I guess that is a classic.
You've not seen Princess Bride. We've covered this. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
That actually really hurts my heart.
And he's seen like one movie from the 80s.
Yeah. I know I've seen a good bit of stuff from the 80s, a good bit of stuff from that. Like once you get before the 80s though, I'm pretty out.
But you will
aside
be
from
bored.
what I've seen. That's not true entirely. I watched a good bit of stuff for 25 Weeks of Christmas with Alonzo, and I really enjoyed that stuff.
So like Casablanca is usually 1, 2, 3, or 4 in that AFI list, depending on the year.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's great, but I don't know how much you would get out of that. Like there's another Humphrey Bogart movie called The Maltese Falcon, which I like better than Casablanca.
Oh,
and
wow.
There's a
You take that up with Alfred.
Film noir. No, Alfred has nothing to do with it. Okay. That different Alfred. But yeah, I think there's going to be times when you're going to enjoy yourself and times where you're going to be like, have you seen Citizen Kane?
No, I've never seen Citizen Kane.
Yeah, you're going to need to watch Citizen Kane.
Fran, I haven't either. Should we do a podcast
Jax
about it?
hasn't seen Citizen Kane. Oh my God.
I have seen Casablanca.
Jax, are we doing a show? Or it's just two people that love movies that haven't seen movies.
That's right. Yes.
Like I think that describes us. We love a movie.
We think we love movies.
We love a movie.
But we haven't seen a lot of movies.
What a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think also with our optimism and earnest attitude of wanting to like things, but also our taste some would consider questionable, I think this could be a great show.
I did watch 2008's The Strangers to prepare for 2024's The Strangers.
Yeah.
Because I had somehow not seen it, even though I was really into horror
Pretty
movies.
tough watch.
Boring movie.
It's a lot of ambiance.
I kept thinking about how funny, because they do a ton of the thing where they show the person out in the distance,
right.
Cut back, and then you look back
Liv
and they're
Tyler's
gone.
doing the thing where she can cry on command over and over again in that movie.
Awesome.
Didn't like her, by the way. Is she? Do people like her?
Liv, yeah.
Okay.
Liv Tyler's
Yeah, well, I thought
that thing you do. Have you seen that?
I didn't like
Thing You Do?
either of the two leads. I thought they were both pretty not great in that movie.
Wow.
But
these are some takes.
I know, but I kept thinking about how funny it would be to if they cut back and they aren't fully off the screen yet. They're like running away, and then they catch them. And they're like,
hey.
Because so much of that movie is, hey, there's a scary guy with a mask in the distance. You cut back to the person, they're like, oh my gosh, and then they look and they're gone.
It's a slow
It's like,
march.
what if they didn't get away?
It's a slow march to torture, that movie. Like it is. It is. If it is like the ambiance of it is what is.
Did you see 2018's Strangers?
I did not. I did not see the next one. No, I didn't.
Because the trailer for the new one looks really good. All right, let's get to When Calls the Heart. Season 11.
Have you not seen That Thing You Do?
No, I haven't. Season 11, episode 6. It is called, Jax?
The Kiss.
Time's up, baby.
It's called Believe.
If you just believe.
Why is it called that? Like Believe Elizabeth?
Believe Elizabeth. Believe women.
Believe women.
Believe women. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
A little on the nose
Sorry.
there. And something like that. It's Goldie's first birthday, and this little girl doesn't even try to blow out the candle. Can you just try a little bit, Goldie? Goldie, can you just try a little bit? What happened to you?
I just tried to erase this and it just
that'll happen to you
out.
sometimes. Baby Jack gives her a stuffed bear. It's cute. The next day, Elizabeth is walking to school with baby Jack, and Nathan conveniently walks out of his house while she's walking by his house. And no way he wasn't just peeking out the window waiting for her to walk by. Right? That's what happened, right? He's definitely watching for her. He goes to say, hey, I can carry the books for you. They touch hands. And now she's pregnant, if you can believe it.
She's
She's
pregnant.
That's how it happens.
Yes.
That's my understanding.
Yes.
She talks about being a bit nervous about the meeting with the school board. And he's like, you're going to crush it. You always crush it. You're amazing at everything you do. She's at the school, and she's surprised to find out that the school board sent the guy from many seasons ago, Thomas Higgins.
Higbone.
He made some advances.
Yeah.
Said, hey, I can make your career.
His career has skyrocketed.
Yes, it has.
By making advances.
Makes you wonder who's is he on the receiving end of maybe something going on in the school board? I don't know. The boys put a mayor's sign on Lee's office. They're silly boys. Rosemary shows up at Bill's office and gives him bad news. Their request to interview Pike has been denied. Frickham and May are hanging out. She's talking about how much she misses home. She misses her brother. She misses her mom's cooking. And he's like, you
You should give it a
go. Higbones wants to meet with Elizabeth after school hours to discuss quote-unquote school stuff. Would love to do that over dinner. She says, I don't want to do that. And he says, I'll give you some time to reconsider that. After school, she bumps into Nathan. Something's clearly bothering her, but she insists that it's nothing. But Nathan knows better this week. Last week didn't know better. This week knows better. Obviously, she confides in Rhodes, Mary. Obviously, she confides in
Rhodes, Mary.
Mary.
Where
about
we're
what's going on.
We don't need roads,
That's
Mary.
Right. Mary. And tells her about what's going on and the guy. And she encourages her to tell Nathan he can arrest him. She's like, hey, arrest him for what? And she's like, you should just talk to Nathan. Joseph is still struggling with what to say to his brother. He's writing a lot of letters, throwing them in the trash, wasting a lot of paper. Higbones comes back in to talk to Elizabeth and is trying to once again convince her to get dinner with him, and is also like, hey, Elizabeth is like, you know, we have kids talking a little bit about school and how kids learn at different paces and stuff like that. Well, and he's like, well, maybe all these kids that learn differently need to go to a different school. She's like, don't do that. And he's like, well, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about there. But before he can explain that further, Anna comes in. Teacher's aide Anna. We know her.
She's doing
an
internship.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a teacher.
Rosemary, isn't that what a teacher's aide is?
Well, a teacher's aide is someone that's hired full-time to be an aide. An intern is someone that is in schooling.
Great.
And yes.
Great, I love that.
It's very different.
Rosemary is excited to show Bill proof that Pike and Montague have a connection. And this proves that maybe Montague could have hired Pike since they know each other. They consider telling Lucas this information, but decide not to. Not until they got a better case on their hands. Elizabeth sees Higbones talking to Anna, and after he walks off, she goes up to Anna and says, be careful of that boy right there. Then she confronts him at the saloon, and he's like, be careful accusing me of stuff, or I'll make sure that the school board changes the name of the school. Because remember, it's named after her dead husband.
Dead husband.
Thornton. She finally tells Elizabeth, she finally tells Nathan about what's going on and who this guy is. And so they decide to set up a sting. It's a sting operation, everybody.
Have you seen the movie The Sting?
No.
God.
She invites Higbones to the school and gets him basically to confess about what he's done, not just to her, but to many teachers over the years. And it's at this point Nathan comes out and says, you've just confessed. Giddy up, cowboy. So he then goes to complain to Lucas that they set up a sting. And he's like, nah, bro, they told me about you. I know what you're up to. I believe Elizabeth. And I believe all the women. I believe all the women that have said stuff about you. And so he's like, and then he threatens Lucas. He's like, I got a lot of people that I know in Capital City. And he's like, well, I will add you threatening a governing official to your list of things that we're going to build a case around about you, Mr. Sir. Lee has the first Meet the Mayor
Mr.
meeting.
Sir from Holes?
Yeah. I have seen Holes. Love it.
Of course. Of course you've seen Holes.
Very big movie for me. Lee has the first Meet the Mayor meeting where he gets to meet all the townspeople that already know who he is. But he's going to have this type of meeting every week to hear from the townspeople and what's important to them. May surprises Mike with a dinner date where she makes her some traditional meals from her childhood, and he surprises her with chopstick skills. And you better believe that earns a kiss, buddy. Elizabeth and Nathan sit on a stoop. She thanks him for just being here, puts her head on his shoulder, and they look up at the big old fake moon. And that, my friends, was When Calls the Heart, Season 11, Episode 6, Believe.
We did it. Jax, have you seen The Sting? No, of course not. Yeah.
We'll add it to the list.
The Sting is a phenomenal movie, and it used to be in AFI's Top 100. I just looked up; it's not in there currently, but it is great. You should check it out.
Who's it starring?
Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. I know Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, does Paul Newman? He's the guy that does the salad dressing, right?
I know Randy Newman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know Paul Rudd.
God, guys.
It's time to break this episode down.
It also has Robert Redford in it. You know him?
Yeah, I know the Redford.
Where the Redford grows.
Yeah,
of course,
the big
yes.
forest.
Yes.
He's in what's that movie? Oh my gosh, Indecent Proposal.
Yep, he's in that.
Haven't seen it.
It's really
Not
good.
as important as The Sting.
Okay. All right, great. Let's talk One Calls Heart Season 11, Episode 6, Believe. And I believe we'll start with a hot take. We're going to share exactly how we felt about this episode. We will not hold back, and I will start with my friend Jax. Jax, it's been a bit of a bumpy road this season. We all had our frustrations last week. Did they get you back in good favor here with this episode, Jax?
Fellas, this was my favorite episode of the season, far and away. Maybe my favorite episode of the series.
What?
I love this episode, you guys.
Jacklyn Collier.
Loved it.
Come on.
No. Okay, here's the thing. They're singing my song. They're doing what they need to do. Like, let me say this. Do you guys know the movie Promising Young Woman?
Yes. Carey Mulligan. Great movie.
No.
Carey Mulligan, great movie. I am not saying that this is as good as Promising Young Woman or anything like that. But Promising Young Woman, I was like, yes, let's do it. And that genre and the way they did that film was incredible. This was When Calls the Hearts for this genre, for this network, Promising Young Woman moment. And I was here for it. I thought you guys that especially Aaron Krako's acting in this, I thought was impeccable. I was like, yes, we're getting to see her do what she can do. I thought they took subject matter that was really quite difficult and handled it with a lot of integrity. And yes, was it a little on the nose sometimes? Sure. But for Hallmark doing this, I'm like, honestly, fine, great. Do it, acknowledge it. There was a little bit of nuance. I thought everything was handled with a lot of care. I love May and Mike. I love Goldie's first birthday. My niece's first birthday is coming up, so that gave me like all these like fun little squishy feels. Woo! I really thought, you guys, that this was very well acted, well directed, and well written. I'm not saying that it wasn't on the nose, but I was okay with it. I thought it was a brave thing for this show to tackle.
I love that take because I love the message of the episode, but can I push back a little?
Please do.
I think the thing about Hope Valley is it exists, Viv Leacock said this, it exists in a world where things are, it isn't this world. It's why in 1920 we can have a black family and an Asian woman and all these interracial relationships. Everybody just accepts all the time. So they don't talk about racism in When Calls the Heart.
No.
They just act like it doesn't exist. They act like we've never had a single second of this show where someone treats someone less than because of the color of their skin. Not once.
Yeah.
And so they live in that vacuum. And so when they try to do something like this, I felt like it undermined the actual problem. I felt like it was a full eye roll. Like instead of continuing to treat, like in this show, women should just be treated with the same respect and equality that men are treated with, because
by and large they are.
That is what they decided when they
Abigail
started.
was a mayor.
That's right. Yes, Abigail's the mayor, and so all of a sudden, we have some diametrically opposed world building, in my opinion, which is now we're taking this serious issue and we're going to show you where When Calls the Heart stands and have Lucas say, I believe women. And listen, anytime we get that on Hallmark, it's hard to argue. So I'm not here to say they shouldn't have done it. I think anytime we get that message, it's great. However, I just kind of roll my eyes that of all the things they're not tackling, they are going out of their way to not tackle racism, economic inequality, all of these big things that they just kind of go, not in our world, not in our perfect universe. They're like, you know what? Even in our perfect universe, we're still tackling this. And it felt very manipulative to me, but I'm happy it worked for you.
Don't you think that they with the Canfields when they talked about them coming from the different towns, how they didn't take the medical thing seriously. To me, that seemed like it was a racism thing.
Okay. I don't remember that. I got to be flat honest. I don't even remember it. So,
and honestly, like I don't think it got the attention it deserved. I understand in Hope Valley the way we're kind of like part of the whole thing is that we're away from these problems. But I think if they did start addressing it in this sort of like, it's very sanitized, right? But I would love to see them do this with an economic inequality, with racism, with all of that stuff. Like I do think it would be great if they did that. And I thought they sort of touched on it a little bit with the Canfields, with the medical thing not being taken seriously. And for me, this was like them being like, can we do it? Can people handle this? Let's see what happens. But I hear I do hear what you're saying, and I do appreciate that take. I don't think it's
I think both. Yeah, I think both of you have fair points. I think this episode would have slapped a bit harder if they had kissed last episode. I think them not kissing last episode. It has a carryover effect for me where I still got a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. But overall, I agree. I did like the episode overall. Was the messaging a little heavy-handed? Sure. Like all it was missing was Elizabeth talking to Anna, be like, "It happened to me too," and looking right at the camera. And then it's like, the more you know. But overall,
we have a lot of fun here on One Calls the Heart. But one thing we never joke about.
That's exactly right. And so I appreciate what they did. I did think that the May and Frickum stuff was fine. I don't care really about Lee being the mayor and having meetings with people that he sees every day. I need more Rosemary and Bill. Yes. I feel like we have this. We've kind of forgotten that the further we get removed from episode 1, the more I forget about what we're even trying to investigate. And every week it feels like, hey, did we get anything? We maybe got something. I don't know.
Let's not tell Lucas yet.
And so I hope we get a heavy investigation episode soon where the two of them are the two main players in the episode, Rosemary and Bill. I would like that, and I would appreciate it. And I think it would do a lot for reminding us what happened in episode 1 and how important it is and all that stuff. Because the more we get removed with nothing happening, the less I care. So I'm starting to not care about it anymore when it was my favorite thing going on. So I need a big Rosemary and Bill episode here in the next week or two.
You'll get it in like episode 11.
Sure. But yeah, overall, a fine episode. Would have been even better if they had just kissed last week, and I could have just breathed a sigh of relief. Dano?
I hated this episode. I also think that the whole plot line with having Higgins come back to town, he's not been around for 7 seasons, which is anywhere from 6 months to 5 years in this show. I don't know. Is that it just was there so that they could show growth in the Nathan-Elizabeth relationship. It felt like a card played, to me, it felt like a card played to allow Nathan to be a hero, for them to get closer, and it was a weird way to do it, and it was kind of tone deaf, and I didn't like it at all. We get very little of Bill and Rosemary, very little on the resort. I guess they're just moving forward. I guess that council did vote yes. Lee as mayor, this is not a good idea. It just isn't a good idea. That Lee and Rosemary stuff are best when they are together and hijinks ensue and they have a miscommunication and they're juggling the paper and I didn't even know, does he do lumber anymore? I don't know. The Lee stuff isn't working. The resort
stuff. Talk about conflict of interest. The mayor is running the lumber company that's going to be doing the lumber for the resort. Did no one think about this? That is a huge conflict of interest.
So much of that going on.
He should sell his lumber company.
Yeah.
Just like Lucas had to sell his saloon. Yeah. Same thing. It's a conflict of interest.
I just feel like, look, the Nathan Elizabeth thing, they have great chemistry, but we're getting them closer through really interesting message means. The resort, we've not even talked about it much aside from a little bit with one scene with Gowan. Lee as mayor isn't working. The thing we were hanging our hat on was Rosemary and Bill, and there's just not enough of that. They have enough they probably got 40 minutes of it for remaining in the season total, and they're going to stretch it out over 6 episodes, and I hate that. And so we're in the doldrums right now. The Elizabeth and Nathan aren't kissing. We're getting a season 12. Life's just not fair.
Let's get to all the feels. We're talking about the feels in this episode. Jax.
Okay, so you guys are talking about this lack of a kiss, which to me, if we're talking about stuff being on the nose and obvious, it's like, you guys, there's so much more than kissing, right? Like when they touch hands over, seriously,
No. But wait a minute, Jax. No. We're not. No. I'm not gonna get.
Give us a list of all the things aside from kissing. I'm not gonna
get this lesson from Jax. They have been doing this dance for 5 years. May, Sue, and Hickam have kissed multiple times. They've done everything else, Jax. This is...
Guys, have you ever seen... What's that movie, 28 Days?
Yeah.
Where they can't have sex?
Yeah. This is like that Josh Hartnett, the 40 days and whatever that was. Like,
that's what it's called,
yeah,
40 days
the
and
28
49.
days is about alcoholism, Jack, so calm it down over there. Sandra Bullock, different movie. How dare you?
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, stay tuned for Jack's sex ed and alcoholism talk. We'll have it on a separate episode.
We're conflating movies that have nothing to do with each other.
They've done everything else. This is not a new relationship. Maysu and Hickam have followed that arc. It's an arc we're used to. They've touched hands, head on shoulder, and then they kiss. This is not, don't act like it's weird that we're asking for a kiss.
It is positively pornographic the way she reacted to the touch of their hands on those books. And okay, sure. I felt that. And then also I actually thought, Bran, and it's interesting that you're still talking about how you're sad there wasn't a kiss last time, because when I saw the end of this episode and she like rested her head on Nathan, the moon is there, I was like, oh, this is why we didn't have a kiss, and I like this. Maybe Bran will have changed his tune.
No, can we?
What are you talking? You even know me.
Considering the subject matter, it would have been weird for their first kiss to be in this episode.
Thank you. Oh,
yes,
Dan. No, I was like,
no, absolutely not.
Please, no.
That's what I was saying.
Please, no.
Same thing. Hear me out. If they had flipped this week and last week's episode, which they basically could do, hardly anything changes aside from the mayor storyline. You flip those 2 weeks, then last week's episode being episode 6, that would have been the time to kiss.
So are you saying, Jax, that if they kissed last week, that the end of this episode wouldn't have worked?
Oh, no. I'm saying it could. No, it could have. But I actually like this slow build. But to Dan's point, he's really got me thinking. If we would have had this thing with Elizabeth and Nathan that's really solidifying their intimate connection, then she tells them they're more than friends, and then they kiss.
Yeah, that's it.
That works for me.
That's the ticket.
You guys are not wrong.
There we go.
That works for me. And also, I had so many Maysu and Hickam feels. I think that Amanda, who plays Maysu, is just so good on this show. I think she manages to bring a lot of warmth, but she's never muscling through it. It's never too much. She just has a natural, easy way about her, and I just want to see her in more things. I think she is endlessly talented. And then finally, when Bill thought he was going to see Goldie and it was just a bunch of files, that made me laugh.
Of course it did.
Great. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, did the hand touch thing work for me? Yeah, I've said it many times on this show in different ways. A hand touch, accidental hand touch is always going to work for me, and so it did in this episode, and still could have kissed last episode. It still would have worked. Dan?
So when I started dating my wife, we had Asian food one time, and I didn't know how to use chopsticks, and I went home and I practiced chopsticks because I didn't want to be embarrassed, and I knew it was important to her. And so this episode reminded me of those early years in high school dating my wife, and how wonderful it was and still is. So I enjoyed those scenes. I think it's ridiculous how they got this dinner together in a day and a half. We'll get there later. But that idea of being interested in someone and so putting work in to meet them where they are is awesome. And it's a much more realistic track of a relationship than the Nathan Elizabeth one, or really the Lucas and Elizabeth one for that matter, or really the Jack and Elizabeth one for that matter. What I'm saying is it was a great scene and I enjoyed it, and it gave me feels of dating my own wife 23 years ago.
Old.
Wait, it's really been.
Yes.
Holy moly.
He's old. I know.
We started dating in March of 2001.
Oh.
And we've been, and it'll be 18 years of marriage in September. So.
And just one quick follow up: was she always like so adorable?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an interesting question. Like, what's he gonna say to that? Like, no.
Well, no. I didn't know what you. What is it when you buy low, sell high?
That's right.
Not that you're selling.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
No.
Some of us were kind of dorky in high school, and then we got hot.
Don't I know it? Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back here. Welcome back. We're talking about When Calls the Heart Season 11, Episode 6, Believe. It's time for the Wait What. It's where we talk about what in this episode made us go, wait, what? I'll start with you, Jags.
I think you guys are going to get into this in detail, but I was watching this with Alex, and we were laughing so hard. I mean, it was beautiful, and Mei Su looks gorgeous, but the amount of lanterns that she has hung,
it's
like
absurd.
all I could do. Absurd.
Jax, it's 1920. It's the jazz age. It's still mail by train and stuff. You're in northwestern Canada. You brought 50. Where'd you get 50 Chinese lanterns from?
I couldn't. Like when it first opened and I saw a few, I was like, okay, yeah, like that's fun. And then when they zoomed out, like I all I could do was picture this sweet soul like hanging them up, and it was utterly ridiculous. It sent me over. I just couldn't. It took me out because it was such a beautiful scene and she looked so gorgeous. And then I was like, this poor woman was hanging lanterns all day in addition to cooking for this man.
The set deck people were like, we do it with Christmas trees. Should we do it with lanterns? Where we like, it's definitely too many and it's unrealistic. Will anyone notice?
But you could probably find Christmas trees easier than Chinese lanterns in Hope Valley in 1920.
Yeah.
But if you really, at Christmas time, if you really think about how long it takes for people to put up Christmas trees, if it could take you out of it, but we don't care.
No,
it looks good.
Yeah.
So same with the lanterns.
Well,
like the amount of time.
Wasn't it Lucas when he and Elizabeth kissed? There's like 30 candles.
Oh my gosh, so many candles. That was
insane.
Yeah.
Candles and so much wood. Like they're on a wooden bench. Like I'm like
It's a fire hazard, but use a Mountie. Who cares?
Well, Team Nathan was hoping it would just all go up in flames.
Anything else, Jax?
No.
At the beginning of the episode, it's cake time, and Lee goes to cut the cake, and he's been gone for a minute or so.
Yeah, a while.
And Rosemary does a little like passive aggressive, like, can't wait for cake, one of those things, and you hear him say, relax, it takes time to cut cake. I mean, not really. It doesn't take that long, buddy. And just say you didn't know how. If I try to cut cake, that cake no longer looks like a cake.
It's never symmetrical.
I understand it's circle. I understand.
If I tried, it's never symmetrical. So I don't start in the middle. I don't know what happens.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
What?
It's wild.
What's the deal with cake?
Every time I see a cake cut, the first piece, I'm always like, it's magic.
Like, how'd you do that?
How'd they do it? My wife will cut the cake. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Look like Pac-Man after she cut. And I cut it, and it's like, why'd you start 8 degrees to the right and 4 degrees down? Like, it looks all kinds of weird.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah.
I just think there are people who are like gremlins and chaos monsters who cut the cake weird, and I think all three of us are those people.
But I try.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
I've given up.
Rosemary tries to coin the phrase VIHVP, very important Hope Valley people. It's less helpful. It takes longer. VIP, I'm assuming you're talking about people from Hope Valley already. It's just not helpful all the way around. Dano.
Yeah, that one I couldn't believe we just say VIP.
VIP.
It's not Mr. Manager. We just say manager. We just say VIP is all we say. Hey, listen, in the 15 years I've been back, I was in Columbia for a little bit, back in downtown Greenville, getting supplies to make Asian food and some of the ingredients to make Asian food that my wife cooks so well, it has become easier in the last 15 years. In 2009 and 10, you couldn't regularly find that in Greenville in 2009. Okay. One of my kids lives for soup dumplings. To do that right, or to get good soup dumplings here, sometimes not available unless they're frozen. In 1920, in a day and a half, Florence at the Mercantile manages to gather everything needed for a full, authentic Chinese meal. And that is crazy town. It's just insanity that all of that is able to occur in 1920. I know that the Asian population was way higher on the West Coast in the 1920s than here, but not in Hope Valley. I've seen one Asian person in Hope Valley. There's just not the ability to turn it around like that. Give it a week, 2 weeks. Make it just try your best to make it a little bit believable.
I believe that's
the name of the episode. Last week they were like, hey, these 11 people on the council have to all unanimously agree that we need to do this merger. And they talk like, oh, that's going to be a problem. We could lose our school. I don't know. And this week they talk like, yeah, of course we agreed. Like, no big deal. And they never have. Am I crazy there? Did I miss something?
I thought they agreed. And then you talked me out of it.
Jax?
I mean, I agree with you in the sense that it's like, I don't think they're leaving a lot of loose ends, and like, don't make it a problem if you're not going to make it a problem.
They were all hesitant.
They never
specifically
took a vote
about the school board, and Elizabeth was like, it's not going to be a problem. And then she looked at Nathan, and I think that was our cue that it's done. It's a done deal.
They never took a vote.
Yeah, but you don't really do that.
You don't do that
in
on
that
councils.
situation.
No, not when it needs to be unanimous.
It's an eye.
It's overrated. Democracy is
overrated.
overrated.
You look at each other's eyes, and you know.
The Higgins character that we've not seen since season 4, he comes on screen looking way younger than he did in season 4, 7 years ago, looking like his hairline is doing the opposite of receding. What is that? Descending? I don't know what it is. He's Benjamin Button. It turns out he's a different actor. It turns out the guy that played him in season 4 is not the guy that played him in 11 because they look way different. And I felt like they thought we weren't going to notice. It is what it is. In Elizabeth's class, they're learning about poison ivy for 2 straight days. On the board is written, you have a whole chalkboard, all you've written is poisonous ivy. That's it. For 2 days. I didn't learn about poison ivy, I don't think, for half a second in school. 2 full days on, hey, this plant, watch out for it.
Don't touch that stuff.
Could give you a rash. Could give you, some people won't, some people will. You need to know. Let's get into the ins and outs of this for 2 straight days.
Guys, as educators,
Thank you.
She's not a good teacher,
She's
right?
a bad teacher, but also just bad teacher because, first of all, you would never cover something like that for 2 days with a group of 18-year-olds. Opal, as we, Opal voted for William McKinley, I'm pretty sure. But also, like, you don't. She's covering like the planets every year, even though she has the same kids in her classroom.
It's a mess, yeah.
I understand you have to differentiate. She's got 5-year-olds and 15-year-olds. That's really tough. Poison ivy for 2 days?
Lost a lot of good men to poison ivy.
That's right. Clearly.
It's a serious problem out there.
At one point, Lucas and Gowan are on the phone with this guy. They're trying to get him to participate, I guess, in the resort. I don't remember. But he says contracts can be broken, especially if you're the governor. What is he talking about? I'm pretty sure, first of all, if you're the governor, you shouldn't be doing business, first of all. And second of all, I'm pretty sure if you did break a legally binding document as a governor, that would get you kicked out of office immediately. Like, that would be the time when contracts 100% matter. And maybe I'm missing something they referenced earlier, but I just didn't hear it, didn't see it. That's all I got.
It's time for Hopes and Valleys.
Hopes and Valleys.
That's where we talk about the things that are giving us hope for the future and our bum of this house. Jax?
They're going to kiss soon. That's giving me hope.
Are they?
Are they? Are they going to kiss soon? Are you sure about that?
Penultimate episode. It's coming. I can feel it. Bumming us out. I think you're exactly right, Dan. I think they've got about 40 minutes. We're going to have that spread out. I need more. I want more. And I don't think I'm going to get it of Rosemary and Bill.
My hope is that next week or the following week, we get a full PI episode. Just like we're really, it's a detective, like an old timey detective show or something. I think it'd be really fun. I think that people would love it. And it would also just take us out of this for a little
Yes.
bit. That'd be really nice. My valley is that they still haven't kissed, and as far as I know, there's nothing else. There's nothing else other than kissing. That's my understanding, and so that's what I've been told. So I'm just
Jax will explain it to you.
head on shoulder and hand touch. What else is there? What else is there that they haven't done yet? Aside from going further than kissing, but
There's just lots of things that you could do before you kiss.
Yeah, I feel like that settles it.
all right, thanks. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna actually hold hands while walking on the street before they kiss?
I think it's like even just like little intentional touches.
You're telling me I'm gonna get 4 episodes of intentional touches before they kiss? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think they're gonna wait till the penultimate episode. But I think Jax has said that since before the season started. She's sticking with her guns, and if it works, then she called it from the beginning.
Intentional
So good for her.
touches.
Well, I called it from the beginning. I need to get a win, just like last year you called it from the beginning that we were going to have Elizabeth.
That's crazy, though. Actually,
from the beginning, Nathan and Elizabeth, I called it. And that's why this year I'm shooting my shot just like Nathan shot his shot
That's right.
on Lucas.
That's exactly right.
Bullets, people. He shot his gun at Lucas
Gosh,
and shot him.
It'd be so good.
My hope is every week that we don't find out the shooter and we don't have a kiss between Nathan and Elizabeth brings us a week closer to the possibility that Mountie Nathan Grant shot Lucas. He shot him. I'm holding to it. It would be the best thing ever. I would love this show so very much. Please don't let me down. When calls the heart, you're totally going to let me down. My valley is, of course, season 12 is official. It's happening. I'm happy for all those actors.
Oh, we love it for them.
Yeah,
Amazing
they get to
people.
go back and hang out. They're clearly a big family. Happy for all of them. They're going to get even more residual paychecks. Good, cool, awesome. Always happy to see people working and enjoying what they do. For me, kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer. That's all I'm saying.
It is about time for the What's Calling My Heart. While Dan's searching for the email that somebody has sent, a reminder that we're presented by Philo, and you can watch When Calls the Heart and our show right there within the Philo app, philo.tv/DTH to sign up and get streaming today. So much good stuff on demand, including the Philo Deep Dive. Dan and I do that show every week where we dive deep into a show that we found on Philo. It's a lot of fun, so head on over philo.tv/DTH. Dan, what's calling someone's heart this week?
I found it. Thanks for that time. This week, you can email us hello@deckthehallmark.com to tell us what's calling your heart. This week, our email is from Beth Ann Smith.
Okay.
She goes
Hi,
by,
Beth Ann.
I have it on good authority. She just goes by Beth, though.
Okay.
Hello,
From Tennessee?
Jax, Bran, and Dan. What's calling my heart is the fact that 20 years after getting my bachelor's degree and leaving the classroom as a student, I've gone back to school full time. Oh, that's awesome. And in some ways, it feels a bit like I'm in Elizabeth Thornton's classroom. No, I don't have classmates named Toby or Opal, and there hasn't been a visit from a Mountie or the governor yet, but I guess never say never. Instead of going the traditional college route, again, I decided to take advantage of a local technical college that offers a variety of one-year courses. So I'm in a giant classroom with one instructor and 10 other students at various places in their coursework. If all goes according to plan, I'll be done next April with a new set of skills and as an accounting assistant. Who knows? Maybe I'll find a Lee Coulter who needs someone dependable to run his lumber yard or saloon. The biggest downside to this whole school thing is that it will cut down some on how much I can interact with my double-decker folks during the day. But I have already let my instructor know that I'll be missing class in July to be in, that Greenville for Bramble Fest. I cannot wait to see you there, you three then, unless any of you were wanting to go to the beach with me sometime before. Love you so much, and I'm so excited to be with you soon. Beth Ann.
It's a wonderful reminder, Dan, that we announced yesterday that Bramble Fest tickets are available to the public now. Deckthehallmark.com/fest.
And after the double-deckers got to buy their tickets, there's literally like 30 tickets.
Run, no walk.
So you probably need to go if they're not going already.
Deckthehallmark.com/fest. Available right now. Jax will be there. We'll be there. And we'll also be back next week with another episode of When Calls the Heart reviews here on the program. It's so much fun. Until then, maybe the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.